Welcome back to Unique Coin Value. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most common coins you're likely to find in your change right now, the 1972 Jefferson nickel. Now, I know what you're thinking. 1972. That's not that old. It's just a nickel. And 99.9% of the time, you'd be absolutely right. But as with all things in numismatics, the devil is in the details. Could this humble 5-cent piece be hiding a secret worth hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars? Let's get into it. First, let's set the stage. By 1972, the Jefferson nickel had been in production for over 30 years. The classic Felix Schlag design was still on the coin, but the mintages were absolutely massive. The U.S. Mint was producing hundreds of millions of these things to meet public demand, so let's break down the key details. Denomination: 5 cents. Composition: 75% copper, 25% nickel. This is a copper-nickel clad coin, same as modern nickels. Weight: ***, 5.0 grams. Diameter: ***, 21.21 millimeters. Edge plain. Now, the mintage figures are crucial for understanding the base value. In 1972, coins were struck at two mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, the D mint mark. 1972 P. Philadelphia, 202,036,000 minted. That's 202 million coins. 1972 D. Denver, 351,694,000 minted. That's 351 million coins. So, as you can see, these are not rare coins by any stretch of the imagination. Because of these astronomical mintages, finding a 1972 nickel in your change is incredibly easy. And because they're so common, their value in circulated condition is, frankly, exactly what you'd expect. If you have a 1972 or 1972 D nickel that's been well circulated, you know, the kind with worn-down details, scratches, maybe it's lost its luster, its value is, face value, 5 cents. That's right. The vast majority of these coins are worth exactly what they say they are worth. They are common pocket change. So if you were hoping to retire on a jar of 1972 nickels, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. While a worn-out circulated nickel is worth 5 cents, a coin that never entered circulation is a different story. This is where collectors get interested. Let's talk grades. A coin in about good condition might be worth 5 cents. But if you somehow find a 1972 nickel that looks like it just came off the press, that value starts to climb. A coin in extremely fine EF condition might fetch 20 to 50 cents. In mint state, MS 63, a pristine but not perfect coin, you could be looking at $1 to $2. A true gem, like an MS 66, might bring $5 to $10. And for the absolute finest known examples, like a perfect MS 67, values can jump to $1.50 or even more. The key here is that these values are for professionally graded coins that have been preserved since the day they were minted. A coin you find in circulation today will almost never grade this high because of bag marks, scratches, and wear from being passed around for 50 years. Okay, you've been patient. This is the part you've been waiting for. The errors and varieties. This is where a common 1972 nickel can become a superstar. The most famous and valuable variety for this year is the 1972 double die obverse. This error occurred when the hub that imprints the design onto the coin dies was misaligned between impressions, creating a noticeable doubling effect in the lettering. You can see it most clearly in the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." The letters will appear blurred or shadowed. This is not to be confused with machine doubling, which is much more common and adds no value. True double dies are rare and highly sought after. Circulated 1972 double die nickel can still be worth a significant amount. Anywhere from $200 to over $500 depending on how worn it is. And if you find an uncirculated one, you could be holding a coin worth well over $1,000. Other errors to look for include where the coin isn't struck correctly in the collar. Where the coin is struck without the collar, making it spread out where a section of the metal blank is missing before striking. These errors can add a premium from $10 to $100 plus even on a common date like 1972. So let's do a quick recap on the circulated value of your 1972 Jefferson nickel. The common coin your average, worn 1972 P or 1972 D nickel is worth 5 cents. Spend it, save it, throw it in a fountain, it's a piece of common modern history. The uncirculated coin, if you have one that looks brand new, It might have a small collector premium of 50 cents to a few dollars. The error coin, if you find one with a strong double die effect or a major striking error, you could be looking at hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars. The moral of the story is this: numismatics isn't always about finding ancient treasure. It's about paying attention to the details. The 1972 nickel teaches us that even the most common coin can have extraordinary versions hiding in plain sight. Oh, next time you get a nickel in your change, take 2 seconds to look at it. Check the date. Check for that doubling. You never know what you might find. The 1987 Jefferson nickel. Now, I get questions about this coin all the time. Alex, I found a 1987 nickel. Is it rare? Is it worth thousands of dollars? Should I be grading this and putting it in a safety deposit box? Well, folks, today we're going to do a deep dive into the 1987 nickel. We'll talk about its mintage, its key varieties, its actual circulated value, and we'll separate the fact from the fiction. So, grab your coin jars, and let's get started. First, a little history. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. The design by Felix Schlag featured a left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his iconic home, Monticello, on the reverse. This basic design remained unchanged for decades, until the Westward Journey series in 2004. But in 1987, it was business as usual at the U.S. mints. And when I say mints, I mean it. In 1987, nickels were produced at 2 mints: the Philadelphia Mint, which, as you probably know, doesn't have a mint mark, and the Denver Mint, which uses a D mint mark. There was no San Francisco S mint nickel produced for circulation in 1987-0. Let's talk numbers. Mintage is key to understanding value. The Philadelphia Mint produced a staggering 371, 499, 481 ** nickels in 1987. The Denver Mint was even busier, churning out a colossal 410, 590, 605 * nickels. That's right. Combined, that's over 782 million nickels. That is an absolutely massive number. To put that in perspective, the U.S. population in 1987 was about 242 million. That's more than 3 nickels for every man, woman, and child in the country. So, right off the bat, we are dealing with an extremely common coin. So, the multi-million-dollar question: what is a circulated 1987 Jefferson nickel worth? For a standard 1987 P or 1987 D nickel that you find in your change today, that has been worn down, has scratches, maybe its details are soft, the value is... I know. It's not the exciting answer everyone hopes for. But it's the truth. Because these coins are so incredibly common, even in brilliant uncirculated condition, they are easy to find. A circulated example has no numismatic premium over its face value. It's worth exactly what it says it is, 5 cents. Its value is as a piece of currency, not as a collectible. Now, before you get too disappointed and go spend it all, let's talk about the exceptions. Because not all 1987 nickels are created equal. The value is in the condition and the errors. While a worn nickel is worth 5 cents, a nickel that has never been circulated is a different story. We call these brilliant uncirculated, or mint state coins. They have no wear, full luster, and no contact marks from being banged around in registers and pockets. A typical 1987 P or 1987 D nickel in MS 60 to MS 63 grade might only be worth 25 to 50 cents. Even in higher grades like MS 65, a coin might only fetch $1 to $3. You have to get into the absolute pinnacle of preservation, like MS 67 or higher, to see values in the $20 to $50 plus range. But remember, grading that high is exceptionally rare for a business strike coin that was meant to be spent. For most collectors, a 1987 nickel is a filler coin. It's the coin you use to complete your Jefferson nickel album page for that year. You might pay $1 for a nice, shiny, uncirculated one to put in your book, and that's about it. But what about errors? This is where things get interesting. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins, and mistakes happen. These mistakes are often unique and highly sought after. For 1987, there are a couple of notable errors to keep your eyes peeled for. The most famous is the 1987 double die obverse nickel. This error occurred when the hub that imprints the design onto the coin dies was misaligned during the process, creating a noticeable doubling effect, particularly on the date and the motto, "In God We Trust." This is not to be confused with machine doubling, which is much more common and has no extra value. A true double die is dramatic and valuable. A genuine 1987 double die obverse nickel in good condition can be worth $100 to $300 or more, depending on the grade and the strength of the doubling. Another error to look for is off-center strikes. This is when the coin blank isn't seated correctly in the press and the design is stamped off to the side. The value of these depends on how far off-center it is and if the date is still visible. An off-center 1987 nickel could be worth $5 to $50, so how do you know if you have one of these? You need to look very, very carefully. Use a jeweler's loupe or a strong magnifying glass. Compare your coin to known examples of the double die error. And if you think you have something truly special, it might be worth getting it looked at by an expert or a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. But for the vast majority of 1987 nickels out there, what you have is a beautiful piece of history, but not a retirement fund. It's a snapshot of the mid-80s. It was in pockets when people were watching The Cosby Show, listening to Whitney Houston on their Walkmans, and maybe buying a gallon of gas for about 89 cents. Its value isn't monetary, it's sentimental. It's a workhorse of American currency. The 1987 nickel teaches us a key lesson in coin collecting. Rarity is everything. Common dates are for filling albums, but the hunt for those rare errors and magnificent high-grade coins is what keeps us checking our change. Alright, everyone. I hope you found this deep dive helpful. Did you ever find a 1987 error coin? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have a coin you'd like me to feature in a future video, shout it out. But we're not just talking about any Jefferson nickel. We're focusing on the coin from a pivotal year, a year of change and quiet numismatic intrigue, the 2002 Jefferson nickel. Was it just another year in the long history of the 5-cent piece, or does it hold a secret that makes it more valuable than its face value? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in your pocket change. Before we get to 2002, we need a little bit of context. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. For over 60 years, the obverse, or heads side, featured a left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson designed by Felix Schlag. It's a classic, familiar design. But in 2002, everything changed. The U.S. Mint decided it was time for a refresh. They launched the Westward Journey Nickel Series to commemorate the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. This series would feature brand new reverse, or tails, designs over the next few years. But in 2002, they started with an update to the obverse. They kept Jefferson, but gave him a new look. Look at this. On the left, the classic Schlag portrait. It's dignified, detailed, and slightly smaller. On the right, the new 2002 portrait. It's a much larger, forward-facing portrait of Jefferson, based on a famous 1800 study by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon. It's bolder, more modern, and the inscription Liberty is now in Jefferson's own handwriting, taken from his personal letters. The first is the one you're probably more familiar with, the traditional Monticello reverse. This design, also by Felix Schlag, had been on the nickel since 1938. So for the first part of 2002, the new-facing Jefferson was still looking at his old home. But later in the year, the Mint released the first of the special commemorative reverses, the Lewis and Clark piece medal design. This beautiful design, by sculptor Norman E. Namath, features two hands, one Native American and one European, clasping a peace medal. It's inscribed with Lewis and Clark Expedition and the year 1804. This was a gift used to establish peaceful relations with Native American tribes, that's right. The simple fact is that over 1.2 billion nickels were minted across Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D mint mark, in 2002 **4 circulation. They are incredibly common. A worn, circulated 2002 nickel, whether it's a Monticello or a piece metal reverse, is still just worth its face value for spending. Any 2002P or 2002D nickel, Monticello or piece metal ***, if it shows wear, if the details on Jefferson's hair or the steps of Monticello are smoothed out, it's a 5-cent coin. Enjoy the history, but don't quit your day job. Single uncirculated 2002P or 2002D nickel *** might be worth 25 to 50 cents to a collector who needs a nice example for a year set. It's not a fortune, but it's a 5x to 10x return on your initial investment of 5 cents. The value here is in their condition. A coin graded by a service like PCGS or NGC as MS65, a gem uncirculated grade, could be worth $5 to $10. But remember, the cost of grading a coin like this is far more than the coin's value, so it's only worth it if you already have one in absolutely perfect condition. This is where 2002 gets more interesting. The U.S. Mint sells special proof sets to collectors. These coins are struck multiple times with polished dies on specially prepared planchets, giving them a stunning, mirror-like background and frosted design. In 2002, the Mint offered two different proof sets that contained nickels. The standard proof set ***. This contained the 2002 S nickel with a Monticello reverse. The special Lewis and Clark proof set ***. This contained the 2002 S nickel with a piece metal reverse. The standard proof set had a mintage of over 3.1 million. The Lewis and Clark set had a mintage of just over 2.3 million. While these mintages are still high, the S-Mint proof coins are the ones that have a measurable collectible value beyond face value. A 2002 S Monticello proof nickel in its original packaging is worth about $2 to $4. A 2002 S piece metal proof nickel is slightly scarcer and is worth about $3 to $5. Again, these are for coins that are still in perfect proof condition. If you find an S-Mint nickel in your change, which is extremely rare, it's likely damaged and worth only a small premium, if any. So, the quick takeaway? Your regular 2002 P and 2002 D nickels from circulation are common. But if you happen to have an uncirculated roll of them, or find the special S-Mint proofs, then you have something that's genuinely interesting to a collector. The true value of the 2002 nickel isn't necessarily in a massive payday. It's in the story. This was a transition year. It's a piece of modern minting history, the year they finally gave old Tom Jefferson a new look and launched a beloved commemorative series. It's a coin that marks a moment in time. Next time you get a nickel in change, take a quick peek at the date. If it's a 2002, take a second to appreciate this little piece of history. You're holding a coin that bridged the gap between the 20th and 21st century designs of the United States Mint. That's all for today. Did you find a 2002 nickel in a special collection? Let me know in the comments below what you found. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content on coin history, collecting, and uncovering the secrets in your pocket change. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy hunting!